You don't feel like a victim?
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt. It just, you know.
But I think most people think as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
What is good, YouTube family? It's your boy Rashad with the Black Anomaly Rising channel. So I wasn't sure if I even wanted to make a video about this because, like, this is just so ridiculous. I guess I feel like I just had to make a video about this because I really just need to get this off my chest. It's about this whole E.G. and Caroll situation. You saw the title in the thumbnail, and I gotta say, this has got to be one of the most ridiculous stories and ridiculous situations ever. Like, in the history of ridiculousness in regard to what's supposed to be a fair legal system, which, of course, I mean, most people with a brain know that it's not a lot of the time, but a lot of the time people with money do tend to kind of have more favorable outcomes. But this really goes to show you how far politics have come and how really just low that our systems have dropped, because essentially everything imaginable is being leveraged against former president and presumably soon-to-be President Donald Trump, if the polls are any indication. So here's the thing about this case. I encourage, first off, anyone who has not looked into the case to look into it first off, okay? So this is a case about grape, okay? So whether or not Trump committed this extremely heinous act, or that's what it was originally, and they could not charge it criminally because it supposedly occurred in like 1996, like literally 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, okay? And here's the thing that's the problem with this case. So this actually ended up being a civil case because they couldn't criminally charge this case as it was too long ago, statute of limitations. So they went civil. And here's the thing that's totally ridiculous about these cases. They're trying to like build this stuff up against Trump to say like, oh, he's like this predator and, you know, he lies about his finances and all this stuff, again, in civil trial. They know they can't get him on anything criminal because with criminal, you are basically innocent until proven guilty. Okay, and apparently in civil cases, that's not the case, and people can literally just decide on their own that you're guilty and that they want to charge you, which is basically what happened here, because I looked into this case and I've been just going through anything imaginable. I cannot find a shred of actual evidence that anything occurred. What has essentially happened is E.G. and Caroll, she just got up, started telling a story, and then there was her friend took the stand, and then another friend of hers took the stand, and then her sister took the stand, and then like a psychiatrist took the stand, and because of that she ended up winning assault allegations, and then after that she ended up winning defamation because Trump said she was lying and called her a whack job and said he didn't do it. Basically, him saying he didn't do it is considered defamation.
This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, a very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog, or her cat, was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All of these things. But with her, they could put in anything. I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into, other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old, and this is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her, and she was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door, so she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay? And by the way, they said she wasn't. Okay, that was her charge. She wasn't.
They found that you sexually abused her.
What? Say what? They did. They said he didn't. And
They did not
I didn't
say
do
that you
anything
did.
else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr.
I
President,
don't know who this woman
can I
is.
ask you, given your recounting
I
your
don't know
version?
who, and I tell you this.
But Mr.
Are you
President,
ready?
can I
swear
ask
on
you
my
because-
children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton-appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr. President,
this is a
you're
fake
recounting your version
story.
of events.
I have no idea who the hell. She's a
Mr.
whack
President,
job.
you.
So regardless of the fact that E.J. Carroll's attorney mentioned that they wanted a certain dollar amount, the jury, for whatever reason, decided to award much, much more. I actually have it on the screen here. It says the award included $11 million for damage to Carroll's reputation, which makes absolutely no sense. Saying I didn't do it is $11 million worth of reputational damage. Okay. $7.3 million for emotional harm, which is also an absurd amount. Like, why is it so high? And it says $65 million in punitive damage. That's basically like punitive damages, for those who don't know, is basically like a cherry on top, like extra punishment, basicyou. The decision came after contentious closing arguments that saw Trump storm out of the courtroom. I would have stormed out too. Because you literally got something where it's $83 million and there's no evidence at all. Y'all just believe that this happened. So Trump's attorney was not happy about this whatsoever. So without further ado, let's go ahead and react to what she had to say.
No. I'm glad you asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could ever do. What I am having second thoughts about is the license that I stand here with that the people in there are supposed to have. I have not spoken because I respect my ethics while I'm on trial. But let me now speak about what has happened. I have sat on trial after trial for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James, and now this. Weeks. Why? Because President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York.
Yeah, and
So
that's the thing. You really think that they would be doing all of this if Trump wasn't about to basically win the election? They're trying everything imaginable. They're trying to mess with his money. They're trying to, of course, put him in jail. You know, they're trying to take him off the ballot. Literally anything imaginable they have attempted. These people have just gotten blatant with it. Blatant corruption at this point is absurd, and she's going to get further into that in a minute.
Don't get it twisted, whoever asked me that question. I am so proud to stand with President Trump. But I am not proud to stand with what I saw in that courtroom. I'm not finished. Let me just finish and I'll take questions, please. Before I walked into court, that judge decided that every single defense President Trump had, we were not allowed to raise in front of the jury. It is in writing, and I encourage the journalists, the real journalists, to take the minute to look at his orders. There was no proof. And I couldn't prove that she didn't bring in the dress. There was no DNA. There was no expert. My experts were denied. Two of them were denied to come in. They didn't let me bring up that Reid Hoffman funded Miss Kaplan. And you know what we got in there? That my witness, who was her friend, who said that she is a drug addict and the drug addict is herself. That friend, I found out in there, was paid for by Miss Kaplan's firm, and that is disgusting. That is a violation of everything I stand for, and that is why I stand with Trump. And that is why so many Americans are so proud that he is running again and so excited to run to the ballot box. But don't get it twisted. We are seeing a violation of our justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not allowed to be stripped of every defense that you have. You are not allowed to be told that you can't bring it up. And imagine a point where a judge tells the lawyer, before your client, the former president of the United States, the leading candidate and obvious nominee for the Republican Party, before he takes the stand to defend himself, Ms. Habba, tell me the questions you're going to ask in open court and tell me exactly what he's going to respond. And then edited my questions, edited the response he was allowed to give. And guess what my client did? He took the stand. He abided by the rules of this corrupt system that I have seen. We will immediately appeal. We will set aside that ridiculous jury. And I just want to remind you all of one thing. I will continue with President Trump to fight for everybody's First Amendment right to speak. Everybody's a right to defend themselves when they are wrongfully accused and to be able to say, I didn't do it.
This is the goofiest thing about this. And the reason why I think that they're going to win the appeal is because they were clearly denied the ability to present counter evidence. They couldn't present counter witnesses. And they came up with this ridiculous amount that was far greater than even what the ask. The ask was already somewhere in like the 20, I believe it was 24 million. And how the heck do you go from 24 million to 83 million dollars? That makes no sense. It's clearly excessive. This is what, again, peak Trump derangement looks like. They're just like, they don't care. The jury just probably just really freaking hates Trump, and they just probably just want to hurt him, and they think he's guilty like of anything imaginable. Anybody can come forward and say that Trump did something to him, and they're going to say Trump's guilty. It doesn't matter if there's evidence, counter evidence, they don't care.
And to double and triple and quadruple down and say this is wrong. This is wrong. But we are in the state of New York. We are in a New York jury, and that is why we are seeing these witch hunts, these hoaxes, as he calls them. And this is another one of them. Be brought in New York, in states where they know they will get juries like this. It will not deter us. We're fighting, and I assure you, we didn't win today, but we will. The record that was made in there, and the behavior I saw in there, some of which was reported widely today, gave us the most perfect record on appeal, and even if I needed it, which I don't, we were stripped of every defense, every single defense before we walked in there. And I am proud to stand with President Trump because he showed up, he stood up, he took the stand, and he faced this judge. And you know what? I'll continue to do so with him. Yes.
Ms. Habba, is the former
Of course, I've spoken with the president.
Ms. Habba, is the former president scared now of the consequences of his actions?
The former president does not live his life in fear, as you've seen every single day. The former president and probably future president will continue to fight for Americans. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yo, this lady Alina is based. Okay? Look, and this is a very unfortunate to where I can't believe that you can literally come out, because Donald Trump he's not saying anything wrong. He basically said that this trial's a farce. It was a witch hunt. This lady's a whack job, which she is. You saw the clip at the beginning. Okay, so the lady's crazy. I mean, I don't understand how this is undeniable. And what they try to do is they try to remove this information from the court. But how you going to remove the ability to demonstrate some things that demonstrate this lady's crazy if the defamation charges are about Trump partially saying stuff implying that she's crazy? Like, again, he said he called her a whack job at the town hall. I'm sure a lot of folks saw that. And when you can't present evidence that she's a whack job. That's not, the thing about defamation is presumably damaging stuff that you're saying that is untrue, not damaging things that are true. So if you say, well, this person's a liar, and you can present evidence demonstrating they're a liar, then that's not defamation. If you say that this person's a whack job and you demonstrate that they're a whack job, you're not lying. If they say, hey, you raped me, and you say I didn't do it, and there's no evidence of it, that's not defamation either. That doesn't make any sense. So you're telling me now, if you belong to the correct political party, and you accuse somebody of, doing something inappropriate, then the person defending themselves now can get charged for trying to say I didn't do it? And this person's crazy for accusing me of this? You really sue somebody and win $83 million for it? It's truly sick. And the fact that I've seen a lot of people, including everybody's favorite nutcase Cenk Uygur, basically parading around celebrating stuff like this. And this is one of the reasons I don't have no respect for him. So Cenk is a licensed attorney, or I don't know if he's licensed. I don't think he's licensed, but he's got his law degree. Okay, I don't think he might have passed his bar at some point, but he probably didn't keep up with it or whatever. So he's a licensed attorney, and this fool on Twitter has been trying to take victory laps, trying to say that, well, this is what Trump gets, this is what he deserves, and the right wingers are crying and all of this stuff. And I'm like, but how can any legitimate person with any type of law degree, any type of attorney, anything like that, anywhere in a legal business, stand behind something that has no evidence whatsoever? That doesn't make any sense. That demonstrates an overall lack of integrity of that individual and demonstrates an insane amount of bias. I don't know if people realize that, but the amount of bias demonstrated is off the charts. This is going to end, though. All of this is going to come to an end in November. So I hope these folks are ready, because it's over for them in November. They're trying everything. And, I mean, their appeal is going to go through. I already know that he's not going to end up paying all of this money regardless of... I mean, there was so much ridiculous stuff going on here. Whatever. I don't even really care about this. Just the fact that it made it this far is insane. When I saw this ruling, I was just freaking sick because, again, if there's evidence, like if I find, like, if they got like a video and Trump is just grabbing a woman and she's like begging and pleading and she just, no, get off it. Like all of this crazy stuff, you know, if they got like recordings of him and, you know, women just hollering like, help me, you know, something concrete, text messages, emails, something, anything, then I'd be like, hey man, Trump's not who I thought he was. But over the years of accusations on top of court cases, on top of mobs coming after him, legal coming after him, there's never anything direct. There's never nothing. It's just additional accusations on top of accusations on top of accusation on top of Trump derangement. That's all there is. And these people, in the end, are going to pay for it one way or another. Trump 2024. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. The polls don't lie. I'm out.
She's a whack job.